Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back. Let's try that again. Spectrum decided to do a little reset on me. Hopefully you guys can all find your way back to this stream and we can pick up the Taylor None of Yo Schabusiness trial. So Taylor None of Your Schabusiness is on trial for first-degree murder. She's also facing 3 counts of dismembering a human body. She is a hot mess. She has a brand new lawyer because she attacked her last lawyer. And opening statements begin today. Begin now, actually. So she is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and third-degree sexual abuse and mutilating a corpse. Shad Thyrion, 24, of Green Bay, had been strangled with a metal chain and was decapitated on February 23rd of last year in the basement of the home he shared with his mother. Taylor has been held in the Brown County Jail in lieu of $2 million bail. Good morning, Miss Trixie. Good morning, good morning. I've had internet issues this morning. So this is happening in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm going to start the opening statements. We're going to cut into the state making their case.
She knew and her whereabouts and what may or may not have happened. So you have to pay close attention to that and think about the things that are said. In a case like this, and really in any case, you have to assess the credibility of each and every witness. You have to take all of that into consideration in this matter. I'd ask that you, when you're considering all of the evidence, don't jump to conclusions. Don't rush to judgment.
The judge has Amaka face. Open mind. Good morning, Sandra.
Listen to all the facts. Listen to what every witness has to say.
Good morning.
Carefully and weigh what they have to say. And remember, there's always 2 sides to every story. You jurors are going to have to decipher the facts of what may have occurred or what didn't occur. But at the end of the case, we ask that you find our client not guilty on all the counts. Thank you.
All right, now the defense is going to be up. Hey, Allison, welcome back. Thanks, guys.
And then, Mr. Saunders, are you ready to call your first witness?
Oh, that was her lawyer. All right, we're already on the first witness.
Maybe we have just a very brief sidebar before the first witness.
Sure.
A sidebar already? All right, let's see if we can go backwards. I don't think we can. The opening statements were quick, though. Holy crap. All right, we are on hold for opening statements. Welcome back, Shell. Hey, Britt, welcome. We are on a brief sidebar before they get to their first witness. Oh my gosh, Megan coming in hot in the beginning of the day with 5 memberships. Welcome, AK-47, Scrap Owl, Lindsay Rose, Tammy G, and Pandora's Karma. Welcome to the lounge, guys. Thank you so much, Megan.
So is that a joint?
Appreciate you.
Or
Our
is it a
community
cigar?
is growing by leaps and bounds. It's exciting stuff. Megan Holly
So
is
is that a joint?
the real Roberta today.
Or is it a cigar?
Roberta.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. I'm loving it.
For donuts.
So is that a joint?
Hey, Punani. Hey, Melissa B. My internet reset. We good now.
The state calls Amy Shannon.
Amy Shannon is the state's first witness. Amy Shannon.
So is
Hope
that
you guys are ready for my commentary today. Feeling a little chatty.
Or is it a cigar?
What's up, Blair? Good morning. Good morning, Blair. Are you our newest Patreon, Blair? I have a feeling she's going to be a psychologist or something because I think mental capacity is going to come into play a lot in this case. Good morning, Cheryl T.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Good to
and
see
nothing
you,
but the
beautiful
truth,
Auntie
and nothing
Cheryl.
but that. Please have a seat and state your name for the record.
Amy Shannon.
Before we go on, I wouldn't be a jury trial if we didn't have technical problems. So there's going to be an audio played shortly, and we're having a hard time getting the audio on.
They're having a hard time with audio. Big surprise.
We're going to take a minute and see if we can.
For the love, can these courts not get their... Well, welcome, Blair, and thanks for joining. It's so good to have you. Thank you, Shell. This is day one. This is the first witness of Taylor's Schabusiness. And just to give you a little update, Taylor is on trial for the first-degree intentional homicide and third-degree sexual abuse and mutilating a corpse of her boyfriend, Shad. She attacked her lawyer. She got a new lawyer. She's cray-cray. She's got some issues. Welcome back to chat, guys, and welcome new members. Make yourself known. Don't be shy. We're a friendly group.
It's loading again, so
It's
rebooting.
loading.
I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to take, but
Oh, Lord, they're loading the audio. But it's not just me. And poor Amy Shannon, she's like, can we just get this over with? I mean, get your audio ready before Monday morning. They had all weekend.
Does the court wish that I make the sort of foundational questions? They're relatively brief.
sure. Why don't we do that? That will give us some more time.
Hey,
So-
Crime and Crochet.
Thank you. Ms. Shannon, can you state for the record how you are employed?
I'm the Assistant Director for Brown County Public Safety Communications, such as the 911 Dispatch Center.
Can you just explain for the jury how the 911 dispatch center works in Brown County and how it relates to the other law enforcement agencies?
So the 911 Center takes the calls for all law enforcement, ambulance services, and fire departments within Brown County. As part of that, all calls and radio traffic that come in through our center are recorded, and then they are held in our center as evidence for 120 days. As were requested by agencies, we release that evidence back to them because it's technically their evidence. We're just the holders of that evidence.
And if a law enforcement agency makes a request that you retain a particular call or record, is that something that your agency does?
We do.
And are those calls, are they something that are easily discernible by the date and the location of the call?
Yes.
Does the system actually store the location of a phone call that comes in?
It depends on how it comes in, but yes.
And essentially, are you able to serve as a record keeper or records custodian for the 911 center, given your current role?
That is part of my role, is to be the records custodian.
And how long have you worked with the 911 center overall?
Overall, over 10 years.
And were you asked by the Green Bay Police Department to record and maintain a call from February 22nd, actually February 23rd, 2022, I believe, at 3:24 a.m.?
Yes.
And as part of your work with the 911 center, did you have an opportunity to review a recorded phone call that came in on February 23rd at 3:24 a.m. from a residence located at 829 Stony Brook Lane?
Yes,
You had a chance to listen to that entire call?
I did.
And if we played that phone call for you, would you be able to identify that call?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I would like to have that call used as an exhibit.
Any objection?
Well, I didn't hear what he said.
He wants to offer the recording as an exhibit, and then he wants to play it.
I have no objection.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are about to hear an audio recording.
Here we go.
Recordings are proper evidence, and you may consider them just as any other evidence. Please listen carefully. Some parts might be hard to understand.
Hopefully it works. It's the 911 call. I hope they show her while they play it too. I want to see her reaction. Oh, I bet if it's his mom, I bet she's hysterical.
County Public Safety, how may I help you?
Yes, I'd like an officer at 829 Stony Brook. Girlfriend just woke me up and swears that she found her severed head of her son in the basement.
Okay, can you repeat the address, sir?
829 Stony Brook.
Okay, S-T-O-N-E-Y?
Is it EY, right? Yes. No E. Just EY.
Is that a house, apartment, or duplex?
It's a house.
What's your phone number?
My number is 327-3748. My name's Steve.
327-3748?
Yes.
What's your last name, Steve?
Hendricks.
Okay, tell me what's happening there again?
I have no clue what's happening. My girl swears that she's found her severed head of her son in the basement.
Did you go down there?
In a bucket. I went down. I can't tell what the fuck it is. Pardon my language. I'm kind of a little freaked out.
Okay, did she just wake up and say that?
Yeah.
And whose head is it?
She's claiming it's her son.
How old is her son?
24, 25.
Has he been missing, or?
No, yeah, he was here yesterday with some chick, and then all of a sudden nobody's here. And she came up to use the restroom a couple times, and she keeps calling and calling. And now she's saying that she hears the phone down there too.
Okay, is she with you right now?
Yes, she's upstairs. She's a little freaked out, and I don't know what to do.
Okay, all right, stay on the line. And you said you went down there, correct?
Yeah, and I lifted the toe, but I can't see very well, and I can't tell what the hell it is.
So there's something in the bucket.
There's something in the goddamn bucket there.
Okay.
I can't
She
imagine.
won't look again. I don't know what the hell, man.
Do you think she's hallucinating, or do you think that?
I don't think so. I went down there. There's something in the damn bucket. I don't know, man. She's a little freaked out and kind of freaking me out.
What's your girlfriend's last name?
Pakanek?
How do you spell that?
Oh, holy shit. You want to spell it? P-A-K-A-N-I-C-H.
N-I-C-H. What's her first name?
Tara, P-A-R-A.
What's her middle initial, date of birth?
What's your middle initial? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Yeah.
I'm still here.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yep.
Okay. What's her date of birth?
What's your date of birth? 5/14/74.
All right. Can I talk to her?
Yes, you can.
Hello?
Hi, Tara. So can you tell me what's going on?
Are you positive my son's head is in a bucket right now in my basement?
What makes you think that?
Because I looked in the bucket.
And what did you see?
Exactly what I told you.
Okay. Where's the rest of the body at?
No idea.
Okay.
I think she said no idea.
When's the last time you saw your son?
Well, I guess today is Wednesday, so I picked him up from his dad's on Monday. And because he doesn't normally stay here, he was going to stay here for a few days, left the laundry. He was here a couple hours, then he left with Taylor.
She knows.
And they
What's
Taylor,
Who's that?
girl, Taylor Coronado.
You know how to spell her last name?
Coronado? No, not exactly. But it's the common spelling from around here.
All right, that is
He
cool.
went to middle school and high school with her.
Okay.
I don't know if he doesn't live with me.
When's the last time you saw him?
Well, he left with her. They both came back. I believe they both came back while we were sleeping Monday night. And I assume they slept all day yesterday, so I haven't seen him since Monday night physically. I thought they were sleeping all day. I was gone for a little while yesterday, Tuesday, and he's 25 and I'm on a basement.
All right.
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
All right. Well, we've got help.
And then I heard my door and her minivan start, and I went downstairs and I went to the bathroom. The lights were out in the basement. I turned them off, and I looked around and no one was there. So then when I turned around to come back upstairs, there was a 5-gallon bucket with a towel over it. And I'm like, oh great, that's why they're out here all day yesterday. They were pissing in a bucket. And I looked, and that is not what was in that bucket.
What is your son's name?
Shad Thyrion,
C-H-A-D.
S-H-A-D,
How do you spell his last name?
Thyrion.
What's his date of birth?
9797.
Is there,
Honestly, I think.
is there blood down there?
No.
Okay. All right, ma'am. I have officers that are headed over to your house right now, okay?
Head over. Okay, I'll go down there.
I guess just stay away from it. Just stay
Stay
away.
away from that area, but we're on the second level, so we're gonna go down to the kitchen and not to the basement.
Okay,
We can
yeah.
answer the door and stuff.
Okay, all right, ma'am.
My 16-year-old daughter is sleeping.
Excuse me?
My 16-year-old daughter is here sleeping,
Okay.
so they do not make a lot of noise. I don't know.
Okay, just let them know that. I'm sure they won't try, okay?
My heart is jumping out of my head, it's bleeding, so.
And, I mean, you're sure it couldn't be like a fake head or something?
I'm not touching it. I'm not looking at it again.
Okay. All right, ma'am. Just go ahead and wait for the officers, okay?
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Ms. Shannon, the audio recording that was just played, is that consistent with the recording that was retained by the 911 center for the call from the address on Stony Brook Drive on February 23rd of 2022?
Yes.
Your Honor, for the record, I believe that we played the entirety of the audio recording, which is 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I would ask that the recording be admitted as an exhibit.
The objection, Mr. Freilich?
No.
All right, that exhibit will be received.
Exhibit
I
E.
have no further questions for Ms.
Exhibit
Shannon.
E. EXHIBITY.
Sure. Ms. Shannon, morning.
Good morning.
How is a
Cross.
recording like that kept by the 911 dispatch center?
All calls and radio traffic coming into our center are recorded automatically. We have a recording system. And regardless of how it's coming in, phone or radio, it's recorded. It stays in that recording. We have it set for 180 days.
Okay. Do you, at least for the recording that we just heard, was that then downloaded to a disc or something?
Yes. And then we also keep it on a separate drive to make sure that it doesn't go away, because those do automatically clear after 180 days. So we downloaded it to a disk as evidence, and then we also keep a recording of it in-house.
So is it your testimony that you preserved that tape from February 23rd of 2022?
Yes.
And then it was, what, was it sent to the Green Bay Police Department, the District Attorney's Office? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It was sent to the district attorney's office,
Okay. And then they kept it in their custody?
as far as I know.
Okay. But 911 dispatch center still has a copy as well?
Yes.
Was there any way that that recording was altered in any way?
No.
Do only certain people have access to it?
Yes.
Who was that?
Myself, and then we have a group of supervisors. They are the people who make the recordings. We have one person who is assigned to do it, but if he's not there, then any of the supervisors can. But they're the only ones that have access to that drive.
That 911 tape that we just heard, it wasn't excised or modified in any way, shape, or form, was it?
No.
And it was downloaded off the mainframe computer at the dispatch
The
center?
server, yes.
Okay, off the server?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, one more. This was kept in the regular course of business of the 911 dispatch center?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You're excused.
Well, that was fast. First witness, done.
State's next witness.
What just happened? I have a feeling this is going to go fast. Oh, I'm sure she was in shock. I mean, a head in a bucket? Who would ever think that was possible?
Officer, if you just want to step right up over here, and before you have a seat, turn and face her and raise your right hand. She'll place you under oath.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now before the court, so help you God.
Oh, God. He probably walked into the scene. He was probably the one that responded. Poor guy.
Officer Alex Wanish, W-A-N-I-S-H.
Okay, and then if you could just make sure you stay close to the microphone so we can all hear you. And with that, Mr. Saunders, the witness is yours.
Hold that microphone close to your chin.
Officer, how are you employed?
With the City of Green Bay Police Department as a patrol officer.
And how long have you been employed as a patrol officer with Green Bay PD?
Since April of 2019.
And is that the totality of your law enforcement experience?
I worked about a year and a half prior to that with City of Manitowoc.
So about 2017 is when your law enforcement career started?
Correct.
And can you outline for us what training you received to be a police officer?
I went through the 720 Academy at NWTC. Before that, I went to UW Platteville for my 4-year bachelor degree in criminal justice.
Okay. And what are some of your regular duties as a police officer?
Taking any dispatch call that comes out, traffic, that kind of stuff.
Sort of respond to the initial incidents?
Correct.
And then do you kind of conduct follow-through investigation as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Officer, I want to ask you about February 23rd of 2022. Do you recall if you were working in that capacity on that day?
Yes, I was.
Directing your attention to about 3:25 a.m., were you dispatched to a call around that time?
Yes.
To where were you dispatched?
The address was 829 Stony Brook, City of Green Bay, Brown County.
And is that an area of Green Bay that you're familiar with in your regular patrol duties?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I guess what area of Green Bay is that?
It's the west side, I guess the closest major intersection between Mason and Military.
And what was the reason you were dispatched to that residence?
The initial call came out that the complainant's girlfriend found her son's severed head in a bucket in the basement.
Oh, my God.
And did you arrive at the Stony Brook Lane residence?
Yes, I did.
Were any other officers with you in that initial time period?
Officer Plonky arrived at the same time as I did.
And what happened when you got to the residence?
We made contact with the complainant and then his girlfriend, and we started talking to them, and then we were directed to the basement where the bucket was located. Officer Plonky remained upstairs just to keep an eye on the rest of the house. I went downstairs. At the bottom of the stairs to the right, there was a green bucket with a shower towel on top of it, just to verify we had an actual head in a bucket. Lifted the towel off, and there was, in fact, a human severed head in the bucket.
So I want to back up just a little bit. When you got to the residence, you said you met with the complainant. Was that Stephen Hendricks?
Correct.
Okay. And then you said his girlfriend was also present?
Yes.
And who is that person?
First name was Tara.
Tara, okay. And Officer Plonky stayed with those individuals? Is that
Correct.
right? Okay, and then you went down to the basement?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. And you mentioned observing the bucket. I guess where in the basement was that located?
As you go down the stairs, if you turn to the immediate right, it was at the bottom of the stairs to the right.
Was it in pretty close proximity to the stairs?
Yes.
After you made that observation, what did you do?
After I pulled the towel off,
Yes.
I had Officer Plonky come downstairs and just verify we had in fact found a human head in the bucket. And then we started to notify a supervisor and then ask for additional units.
And at that time, on February 23rd, 2022, did your department utilize body-worn cameras?
Yes.
Is that something that was operating on that day?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to review your body-worn camera prior to your testimony today?
Yes, I did.
If you were able to observe that here in court, would you be able to recognize it?
We're going to see body-worn camera. Amica. Insert Amica here, for real.
Your Honor, I'd propose to play Exhibit 2. It's approximately 6 minutes.
Any objection? No objection.
These poor officers and these scenes that they have to walk into. Can you imagine? Yep, that's indeed a human head in there. Poor guy. It's like, dude, I just wanted to protect people. I don't want to find heads in buckets. He'll never unsee that, you know? This is an Amica moment here. They're getting ready to play the body-worn camera from the day that Shad's mother and boyfriend called 911. Oh, yes. Hey, Jason Riddle. They are excavating in Rex's house. Yep. And found a soundproof room. Here we go.
Exhibit 2 beginning at 0 seconds.
Remember, there's no sound in the first 30 seconds of body-worn camera. So the sound might kick in, so don't blow your eardrums. 30 seconds. Did you hear them? Hello, Angie B.
Okay. Did you both see this? I opened the towel, I picked up the towel and dropped it because I don't know what the fuck it is, man. I have bad vision. And she's like, is that what I think it is? I'm like, I don't fucking know what the fuck it is.
Do you want to just stay with those two and I'll just go see it?
Oh, man.
Where's it at?
Go right there. Look right, there's a bucket where it's taller.
He's taking one for the team. Fuck, nay.
Just keep my eyes. Dude, it is.
What? Oh my fucking god,
Come here.
hold on one second. Jeez.
Hold on, just.
This is bananas.
Right. That's real low. Oh, I got 4 Ed 1 to 82 Sam. I know you're busy over there, but this is actually what it's going to be. It's not going to be a 961 thing or a 96 thing, so we're going to need more units here.
Whoa. That guy's like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Oh.
If there's anybody supposed to be there. Was that Fred 1? No for right now.
Look at her watching. Hi, Lisa. Look at her watching. Them look at
If
that
we can
head.
get more units here sooner rather than later, that'd be appreciated. We've got
Hi, Jenny.
quite a bit of blood down here. I want to clear this rest of this house. We've got 2 people in the house for sure.
Maybe they'll show the other guy's view too, and we'll hear that conversation. 'Cause I can't hear what they're saying. That's what meth does to you, folks. It messes you up. Permanently. That curtain's ripped too. Get them out of the house.
Okay, and for the record, the entirety of Exhibit 2, approximately 5 minutes 59 seconds, was played. Officer, having reviewed the exhibit, do you recognize the video that was depicted?
Yes, I do.
Does that appear to be consistent with your body-worn camera footage that you observed?
Yeah.
Consistent with your recollection of the scene on Stony Brook Lane on February 23rd?
Correct.
I'd move Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
No objection.
The Exhibit 2 will be received.
So, Officer, I want to ask a few questions about that. When you arrived, which door to the residence did you enter through?
It would have been the side door off the driveway.
Okay. And was there a sort of a storm door that was a part of that door as well?
Yes, I believe so.
All right. After you observed the bucket, it appeared that you walked around the basement area of the residence. Is that right?
Yes, it did.
At that point, did you see any other parts of a human body?
No other parts of a human body, no.
Okay. Did you notice any areas of potential blood?
Yes.
And where was that?
Beyond the stack of mattresses, there appeared to be blood on the floor and then small chunks of human flesh.
In other areas of that basement, did you locate any obvious signs of blood?
There was a dried blood stain on the mattresses, and that was all that I remember seeing.
After you and Officer Plonky, was that the officer who is also depicted in that video?
Yes, it is.
Did other officers arrive on scene?
Yes.
And what did you and the other officers do at that point?
Sergeant Brester was the next to arrive on scene. Kind of informed him of what we had up to this point and then what we needed to do next. We had 2 other officers responding. Once we got all the officers there that we needed, we conducted a protective sweep of the residence just to make sure there was no other people that we needed to know about, just to make sure that there was no other potential threats.
And you're the first officer to testify, so I'll ask you this because we've heard this term. What is a protective sweep?
It's not a search or anything like that. It's just conducting a sweep of the house just to make sure there's no other people hiding or no other threats.
So essentially a search for people?
Yes.
Okay. Other than the towel that you lifted off the bucket, was any object moved or rummaged through by officers?
Not the initial responding officers, no.
Okay. And then at some point, do detectives and other personnel arrive on scene?
Yes.
I guess, what do you do after the protective sweep then?
We maintain the scene. Officer Linsmeyer and Officer O'Donnell transported Stephen and Tara to the police department along with their 16-year-old daughter, Ava. Sergeant Brester, Officer Plonky, and I remained on scene just to secure the scene and then wait for additional resources to respond, such as detectives.
What efforts did you undertake as part of your maintaining the scene that you referenced?
Just making sure that no one got in or out of that residence. Started a crime scene log just to keep track of who was coming and going as far as officers go. And then we ended up putting up crime scene tape around the house as well.
The crime scene log, is that something that you maintained?
Yeah, until I was relieved by day shift.
And I guess that just tracks who enters and leaves the residence?
Correct.
And there was, I think you mentioned crime scene tape that was affixed as well around the house?
Yes.
Thank you, officer. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Officer Wanish, good morning.
Morning.
Are you sure that was a hood?
You were working for the Green Bay Police Department on February 23rd of 2022, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you were on uniform patrol in a fully marked squad, correct?
Yes.
And you were dispatched over to 829 Stony Brook Lane, correct?
Correct.
That area is kind of by Fireman's Park where all the kids go sledding, correct?
Yes.
It's behind it?
It would be to the east of it.
Okay. Who dispatched you over to this location?
It was a dispatch call, and we were the only available units in the city, so Officer Plank and I responded.
Okay. And were you told that there was a suspicious situation over there?
I believe that's how the call was coded.
And the complainant was the male that you heard on there, correct?
Yes.
Did you later find him to be Stephen Hendricks?
Correct.
Who was the first person you talked to when you got to the Stony Brook Lane residence?
Female by the first name of Tara.
Was it Tara Pakinich?
Yes.
And that video, the officer that first entered was Officer Plonky, correct?
That is correct.
And then you followed behind?
Yes.
And the complainant said there was something in a bucket, but he couldn't tell what it was. Is that correct?
That is what he told us.
Hey, John.
And you talked to Tara Pakinich, and she said that she thought it was her son's head in a bucket down in the basement?
That's correct.
And then did you ask where the body was?
I don't recall asking that specific question.
But after you did a search, you didn't find a body, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
Where the hell was his body?
In the basement, you didn't find any people down there, correct?
Correct.
The only people that were at the house was Tara Pakinich, Stephen Hendricks, and Tara's daughter, Ava Wheelock. Is that right?
That's correct.
And this house, is it essentially have like a basement, floor level, and then an upstairs loft?
Yes, that's accurate.
There's like kind of like 3 floors, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you arrived, you knocked on the door, that side door that we saw, correct?
Yes.
It's right off the driveway, correct?
Yes.
And this was at nighttime, correct?
Yes, it was.
About 3:25 a.m.?
Correct.
And the people that you had contact with, Tara and Stephen, were they in shock?
Yeah, they both seemed to be in a state of shock.
Had they been sleeping prior to your arrival?
They were both awake and in the kitchen when we made contact.
But before you got there, was it your understanding that they went to bed and then something happened where they woke up and then they called the police?
Yes.
Okay. And did both Mr. Hendricks and Ms. Pakinich attempt to describe to you what they found or what they saw?
Yes.
Did they indicate that Shad Thyrion would come to the residence on Stony Brook for a few days and then would leave and come back and do laundry and things of that sort?
Yeah, they said that it was not his primary residence.
You're the first one that went down in the basement?
Correct.
And you had a flashlight with you?
Yes, I did.
It's kind of a high-powered flashlight so you can see, right?
Yes.
You went down to take a closer look at the contents of the bucket?
Correct.
And when you got to the bottom of the stairs, was there a laundry room area?
Yes, as you go down the stairs, the laundry room was directly to the left.
And then there was an open room as well?
Yes.
Was the open room to the right?
Yes, it was.
And was that used for storage?
It appeared to be. And then there was a stack of mattresses in the middle of the room as well.
Okay. And at some point then you saw the bucket, correct?
Yes.
And was there anything over the bucket?
There was a striped towel.
Okay. And was it over the top of it?
Yeah, it was completely covering the inside of the bucket.
Okay. Was it your discretion or duty to move the towel?
Yes, I had to verify what we had.
Okay. Now, did you have gloves on at all?
Yes, I did.
What kind of gloves?
Just regular patrol gloves.
Okay. When did you put those gloves on, do you know?
Typically, I put them on as soon as I get out of my car to go to any call.
But for this particular night, did you have them on?
Yes, I did.
When did you put them on?
Typically, I put them on right after I get out of my car, so I believe I would have put them on at that point.
Right after you got out of the squad car?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have them on when you went in that side door?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you keep them on during the entire time that you were in the Stony Brook Lane house?
Yes.
You removed the towel?
I did remove the towel from the bucket.
And then at some point, did you ask Officer Plunky to come and take a look as well?
Yes, I did.
At any point in time after you were done looking, did you put the towel back?
Once it was removed from the bucket, it was not placed back on the bucket.
Was it just allowed to lay on the floor, or what? Tell me what you know
Where's
about
the
that.
towel?
I believe it was just moved to the side and it was put on the floor next to the bucket.
Do you know if anybody in the house, Mr. Hendricks or Ms. Pakinich, had touched what was in the bucket or moved it in any way?
I believe they both looked at it based on what they were saying to us, as far as Stephen couldn't tell what it was and Tara was positive it was her son's head.
Can't even imagine that.
You asked for additional units, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you asked for a supervisor?
Yes.
Did they come right away?
Yes.
On the video, we see that you pulled out your service revolver, correct?
That's correct.
Were you doing a protective sweep to make sure nobody was in the residence in the basement?
Yes.
Did you go through the entire house to see if there was anybody else in there?
Eventually, once we had more officers on scene, we cleared the rest of the house.
Okay. Did you see Taylor Schabusiness in the house when you were there?
She was not present when I was there.
None of your business.
And when you were looking around in the basement, it's true that you did not observe a body or any other body parts belonging to the severed head, correct?
That is correct.
Tara's daughter was in a bedroom on the ground level, correct?
Yeah, main floor.
And she was sleeping?
Correct.
Did she get up at some point then?
Yes, during our protective sweep, she was woken up.
Okay. And then did you transport Mr. Hendricks, Miss Pakinich, and Miss Wheelock to the police department, or did someone else do that?
Officer Linsmar and Officer O'Donnell completed that.
Okay. Did you maintain a crime scene log?
I started the crime scene log until I was relieved.
Okay. And who were you relieved by?
Officer Zawicki.
And then did you secure the crime scene?
Yes, we remained on scene to secure it.
Was that with Officer Plonky?
Yes.
Hi,
And
Potato.
when you secure the crime scene, how do you do that?
We eventually put up the crime scene tape, but in the meantime, we just maintained the residence as the primary point of entry.
Now, on that video, when you're walking up the driveway, whose vehicles are in that driveway? Do you know?
I don't recall exactly who's the registered owner of those vehicles.
Do you know if the vehicles belong to Miss Pakinich, Mr. Hendricks?
I don't know for certain, but it's possible.
Did you confirm if any vehicle belonging to Taylor Schabusiness was in that driveway on that particular date when you were there?
I personally did not.
Okay. And was Sergeant Brester on the scene as well?
Yes.
What was his role?
When I requested a supervisor, he was the supervisor that responded.
Okay. And did he come into the residence?
Yes, he did.
Did he go down in the basement to verify anything?
I believe he did, because he assisted with the protective suite.
Okay. When you were there, did anything happen that would have caused the crime scene to be disturbed in any way?
No.
And did Mr. Hendricks indicate to you that he wasn't able to see what was in the bucket?
Yeah, he did mention something about difficulty with his vision.
Okay.
They keep mentioning the boyfriend.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any redirect? No, you're.
They didn't go hard on it, though. But they have mentioned the boyfriend twice now. The defense has.
State's next witness.
State calls Officer Ethan Plonky.
Officer Ethan Plunky. He must be the other officer that arrived on the scene. So we might hear the mom and the boyfriend better in this if they play his body cam. Oh, yeah, she attacked her lawyer in court. Mr. Jolly.
You want to come right up here, officer, and then before you have a seat, if you can turn and face her and raise your right hand, she'll place you under oath.
I think she was just shocked about it, about attacking her lawyer.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now before the court, so help you God. Please have a seat and state your name for the record.
My name is Ethan Plonky, and I work with the Green Bay Police Department.
Okay, and then, sir, if you could just make sure you stay close to the microphone so we can hear you. You're pretty close right now, so you're probably...
I had a hard time hearing you. Do you mind pulling your microphone down and then aiming it up at your chin?
How are you employed with the Green Bay Police Department?
I am a patrol officer.
And how long have you been employed as a patrol officer?
Just over 3 years.
Is that the entirety of your law enforcement experience?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to ask you, officer, then about February 23rd of 2022. Do you recall if you were on duty for your department on that day?
I was.
And do you recall being dispatched to a residence on Stony Brook Lane
I
that
do.
day? And do you recall approximately what time you were dispatched?
I don't recall the exact time.
Was it like in the morning, the night, in the middle of the day?
Yes, early morning.
Okay. And why were you dispatched to that residence?
For a report of a female who had supposedly observed her son's severed head in a bucket in the basement.
And when you got to that residence, what did you do?
I made contact with the two individuals inside the residence. They were, I believe, a Stephen Hendricks and a Tara Pakinich. And then myself and Officer Wanish were the first to arrive on scene and make contact with them.
And then what did you do after you met with Tara and Steve?
I asked them what had occurred, to which Tara began to tell me her side of the story. While she was telling me her story, Officer Wanish had gone into the basement to look into this bucket that she had found. And that's when he told me that he did find a severed head in the bucket.
Did you then go down to the basement as well?
I did.
And what did you observe when you got to the basement?
I observed a black 5-gallon bucket to the right of the stairs as I go down. There was a beach towel over that now had been moved away, and in that bottom of that bucket was a severed head. And that's how I located.
What did you do at that point?
I then looked around the basement. Myself and Officer Wanish decided that we were going to have to clear the residence for any other threats that were going to be in the house.
And I guess was anyone else in the house other than the people you talked about earlier?
A teenage daughter, I believe, of the complainant was sleeping upstairs in her bedroom.
And I guess upstairs, what part of the house was that?
Either the first or the second floor. I believe it was the first floor, though.
And did other officers then arrive on scene?
Yes.
And what did you do at that point?
I stayed with the complainants, Tara and Steven, while the other additional officers cleared the residence.
And I guess, what do you mean by cleared, just in everyday jargon?
Oh, sorry. So they would make sure the residents didn't have any other threats, like anybody else that was not supposed to be in the residence were not there. And I just stayed with Tara and Steven to make sure that they were safe while this residence was being checked.
Were they, and by they I mean Tara and Steve, were they transported away from the house?
Yes, by additional officers that had arrived on scene.
What did you do at that point?
While after they were transported?
Yes.
I just stood by on scene with Officer Wanish and Sergeant Brester until detectives and more officers could arrive to relieve us.
And did you assist Officer Wanish with crime scene tape around the area?
Yes, at the front of the residence before we had left.
And I guess generally were you sort of monitoring if people were coming and going in the house?
Yes, made sure nobody else had entered the crime scene.
The people who had entered the house, were they all members or affiliates of law enforcement?
Yes.
Thank you, Officer. I have nothing further.
Cross-examination, Mr. Fraley.
Thank you. Officer Plonky, a couple questions for you. So on Wednesday, February 23rd of 2022, you were working in full uniform patrol, correct?
Correct.
Was this zone 4E2?
That was my call sign.
Okay. Were you dispatched over to 829 Stony Brook Lane in Green Bay?
Correct.
And you received some information over dispatch, right?
Yes.
This residence, was it near like the Fireman's Park area?
Yes.
What report did you receive?
That it was the boyfriend, Steven, who called, but his girlfriend had woken him up, stating that she had gone into the basement and found her son's severed head in a bucket.
So you went over there to that residence, correct?
Correct.
By yourself in a fully marked squad?
I went over there in my own squad, but Officer Wanish came at the same time as I did.
Okay. And so then you parked on the street?
Yes.
And the two of you officers walked up?
Yes.
And it was dark outside, there was snow on the ground, correct?
Correct.
And who made contact with the residents first?
I believe I interacted with them first.
Okay. You're the one that knocked on the door, correct?
Correct.
And then the door opened and you kind of went inside a bit?
Yep.
Did you see some vehicles in the driveway?
I can't recall vehicles.
You don't recall if any vehicles were in the driveway when you walked up?
I don't recall. There might have been.
Okay. Do you know if the vehicles belonged to Tara Pakinich and Stephen Hendricks?
If there were vehicles in there, I didn't run the license plates and didn't ask about who they belonged to.
Okay. And when you got to the door, you had some discussions with Ms. Pakinich and Mr. Hendricks, correct?
Correct.
And then, what did you do? Did you go inside?
Correct. I was inside talking to them.
Okay. And then, did Officer Wanish follow behind you?
Yes.
So were you on the first floor in the kitchen area where there was a table?
That's where I spoke to Stephen and Tara.
Okay. Try to find out what was going on, correct?
Correct.
And then, was there a decision made between the two of you for one to go down and check what was going on in the basement?
Correct. Officer Wanish decided to go down and confirm what they were telling us.
Okay. As far as seniority, who had more seniority, Officer Wanish or yourself?
Officer Wanish has more seniority than I do.
Okay. So he took the bull by the horns and went down in the basement to check it out?
Correct.
And you maintained things upstairs?
Correct.
And then, did you stand at the top of the stairs looking down to kind of keep in contact with Officer Wanish?
Correct.
And at some point then, were you asked to come down and verify as well what was in the bucket?
Yes.
And you did that?
I did.
Did you talk to Stephen Hendricks?
I made some conversation with him. I mainly talked to Tara.
Okay. But did Mr. Hendricks tell you that he went down to look at the bucket and you couldn't tell what it was?
Yes, I believe that was partially because he had just woken up and was almost in a state of shock.
Tara Pakinich was in a state of shock too? Is that fair?
Seemed to be that way.
And was it your understanding that Tara woke up for some reason, correct?
She heard the door close, I believe, to the residence.
The side door that you would come into?
Correct.
Okay. And then did she, what made her go downstairs? Do you know?
She was woken by the door, and I believe she wanted to check if there was anybody still inside of the house or if they had entered or left.
Did she find anybody inside the house?
She did not locate anybody that was alive in the house.
And did she tell you that she went downstairs to verify the basement situation?
Correct.
And then that caused her to have the police called?
Correct.
But before the police were called, was it such that Ms. Pakinich went up to tell her significant other, Stephen Hendricks, what she saw?
Since he called for police, I believe that's what happened.
Okay. When you were talking to Tara Pakinich, did she indicate that her son would sometimes come over for meals and do laundry and things like that?
Correct.
When you were in the residence, when you came in the residence, did you have any kind of patrol gloves on at all?
I don't recall.
Okay. When you went down in the basement, did you have gloves on?
I don't recall.
Okay. After, I'll strike that. Is it fair to say when you went down the stairs into the basement, you looked inside the bucket several times?
Yes.
Did you have a flashlight as well?
I always had my flashlight on duty.
Did you use the flashlight?
I most likely did, yeah.
Okay. And then you looked around in the basement, correct?
I glanced around the basement, yes.
You didn't see anybody down there, correct?
Nobody else down there, no.
Then at some point you went back up the stairs, is that fair?
Correct.
The bucket that you saw, what color was it?
Black, I believe.
And where was it located?
Just to the right of the stairs if you were to walk down.
Like if you walk down the stairs, would it be like around the corner?
To the right, you would be able to see it as soon as you got down at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay. So as you get off the last step, then you would see the bucket on the right?
Correct.
Did you move the contents of the bucket at all?
No, I did not touch any of the contents.
There was a towel on the bucket and it was removed by Officer Wanish, correct?
Yes.
Did you look at the towel?
I believe I would also have seen the towel, yes.
Where was that sitting? Was it right on the floor next to the bucket or?
It might have been. I cannot recall exactly where the towel was at that point.
Backup officers arrived, correct?
Correct.
And then who transported Tara Pakinich, Stephen Hendricks, and Abel Wheelock to the police department?
Additional officers, it was not me, and I don't know which officers exactly took that responsibility.
Was the daughter woken up right away after you got there?
During the protective sweep, officers had awoken her as they were going through the bedrooms.
Where did these people sit or stand, when you were there? Tara Packendich, Steve Hendricks, and Ava Wheelock. Were they sitting at that kitchen table, on chairs? Were they standing in the kitchen?
There was points where Tara and Steven might have been standing, but they were in the kitchen when I was with them.
Okay. When you were there, did Tara, Steve, or Ava go down in the basement?
No.
And was it your understanding that Steven and Tara, they slept upstairs in the loft part?
Correct. That's what I believe that it was laid out as.
And then was it your understanding that the ground level, it had like a kitchen and a bedroom, and that's where Ava slept?
Correct.
Then there was this finished basement, correct?
Correct.
In the basement, there was a laundry area, is that fair?
Correct.
Storage area?
Correct.
It was kind of messy down there, correct?
It was cluttered, as a lot of basements are.
Lots of stuff down there?
Correct.
And officers did a protective sweep of the house and found no other threats, correct?
Correct.
And then you waited on the scene and you started a crime scene log, correct?
Correct.
When you start a crime scene log, can you tell me what that involves?
So starting a crime scene log is you put the address, and then you start listing all the occupants who have entered and left the crime scene. So like my name would go on it, Sergeant Brester, Officer Wanish, and then we would mark like their reason for being there and then their time in and out.
Okay. And you did that?
I started it, yes.
Okay. Did you also assist Officer Wanish with putting up crime scene tape?
Correct.
Is that kind of like the yellow crime scene tape that we see on TV?
Correct.
Where did you put the crime scene tape?
I believe we just outlined the front yard of the residence, holding it around trees and making sure that everybody could see that they were not supposed to enter the property.
Did it cover the front door of Stony Brook?
It would have encompassed the front door.
And the side door of Stony Brook?
I can't recall exactly if we had brought crime scene tape up to the back point.
Okay. Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Redirect? Thank you. You're excused.
Wow, that was fast too. So yeah, this is her with, I guess she was married at one point, and this dude was in
Ladies and gentlemen, we're
prison.
going to take our mid-morning break. It's about 5 after 10. We'll take about a 10-minute break and be back at 10:15.
10-15 minute break, guys. It makes me so ill. She almost looks like happy to be there. All right, we are on an official break for 10 to 15 minutes. Let me just update you guys on this case. If you are new to the Taylor Schabusiness case, that is a picture I put up of her attacking her lawyer. I'm going to show you guys a video of that because she was not playing at all. At all. Taylor Schabusiness. Now's the time to go get your coffee, get refill, whatever it is. I feel like they're mentioning the boyfriend a lot, the defense is. What do you guys think? They keep asking about him.
Or is it a cigar?
Let's see. Here it is. I've got it. Okay, let's go over. Thank you, Jenny, for gifting. Oh, Crime and Crochet. Welcome, honey. Welcome to the Jays for Justice member lounge. Take advantage of your custom emojis. All right. Let's watch some Schabusiness getting crazy. All right. This is Taylor Schabusiness attacking her lawyer. And this happened 5 months ago. 5 months ago, a judge decided to delay her trial. She just got the news that her trial was going to be delayed, and then this happened. Watch. Look at this guy. He's like, stop. The fuck?
Rachel, call.
Look at her.
Is they bringing 7 in? Yeah, let's just go to seconds. We'll stand by there. Billy, can you walk?
She's.
Watch breaking
Did you
news
see?
on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC 7.
Did you see how big that cop was too? Let's watch that again.
I'm looking at the week of May 15 for the trial.
Stop it. Stop it.
No, she does not have the same lawyer. She has a different one now.
Rachel, call.
Her and her husband made up their last name and both had them legally changed to Schabusiness.
Billy, can you walk?
What? Why? It's none of your business.
Watch breaking news on YouTube.
Unbelievable.
Subscribe to ABC 7 Chicago.
She's so calm too, like, and she just grapples. Look at how she grapples him.
Rachel, call.
Look at her nasty feet too.
Is they bringing 7 in?
And she just sits there. Do you think that's an act or do you think that's real craziness? Mr. Jake Wynn, what the hell is wrong with her? I don't know. He's a huge guy. He's huge. I know, it's fucking scary. It's like this girl, I think they have something on her chair. I don't know. They've got her hands, I think, down, chained to something. I don't think they've given this chick much freedom anymore. Because she should have never been able to do this.
Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, she had sandals on. Look, her sandals came off.
Rachel, call.
My God, girl.
Is they bringing 7 in? Yeah, let's just go to seconds. We'll stand by there. Billy, can you walk?
I can't with her. She's a nut. She's a fucking nut. This is a crazy, weird, scary case. So she was married. Who's her husband? Let's look up. Let's see if we can find out who her husband is before they come back. Taylor Schabusiness. What an idiot. Husband. Warren Schabusiness. Oh, for God's sakes. He has her age children. Here they are in the prison with the prison background. Green Bay, Wisconsin has seen a tragic incident that has everybody in awe. Thyrion's head was left in a container after Taylor Schabusiness chopped up his body and choked him during intercourse. His mother discovered a towel by the steps in the storm cellar and used it. No, this isn't right. Warren Schabusiness. This article doesn't even make sense. Let's look up Warren Schabusiness. I want to find a reputable source. Here's a New York Post. Uncle of man dismembered during drug-fueled sex calls suspect a monster. A married Wisconsin woman accused of killing and dismembering her lover during meth-addled sex has been described by the victim's uncle as a monster. Taylor Schabusiness, this is great wording, New York Times. Taylor Schabusiness allegedly decapitated the Green Bay man after the crazed romp. Really? then dumped his head and penis in a bucket and his legs in a crock pot? What? A crock pot? How do you fit legs in a crock pot? What the hell? This is Shad right here, the victim. She was found at an Eastman Avenue home with dried blood on her clothes. During a search of her minivan, they found a crock pot with human remains, including legs. At the mother's house of horrors, they later found the head and male organ in the bucket, an upper torso in a storage tote, body fluid, and knives. Taylor Schabusiness said she and Shad smoked meth before having sex and she blacked out. She told police she and the man had been smoking meth before going to his mom's house, where they had sex using chains. She said she blacked out at one point, then went crazy and began choking her partner, insisting she did not mean to kill him but enjoyed choking him. She said, quote, police were going to have fun trying to find all the organs as she dismembered the body. Schabusiness stated all the body parts should be in the basement, according to the complaint. Schabusiness stated she used knives that she obtained from the kitchen of the residence and that a bread knife worked the best because of the serrated blade. She also said she planned on taking all the body parts with her, but got lazy and only ended up putting the leg, foot in the van, and she forgot the head. The married Schabusiness, who recently became a mother, claimed that she and Thyrion had been smoking meth earlier in the day. She also shot herself and her sex partner up with trazodone, an antidepressant and powerful sedative. When informed by cops that they had the victim's head in a bucket, Schabusiness reportedly said, "That is pretty fucked up." And when asked what happened, she said, "That's a good question." She just became a mother? Where was her kid? Thyrion had brought 2 chains for the sex session, she told cops, one of which he placed around his neck before she went crazy and strangled him. The alleged killer said that when she felt his heart beating, she kept choking him harder, claiming he would not die because he kept rebuilding into muscle. Schabusiness said she sat on the victim and waited for him to die as he coughed up blood. "Yeah, I liked it," she said about choking Thyrion. Schabusiness stated she sucked. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I cannot. I can't even. Oh. Stop. She said she sucked the victim's penis, that she had a dildo that she put in the victim's mouth and then in the victim's blank, she added. Meanwhile, the reporter that broke the story on serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer in Milwaukee in 1991 said that the suspect in the Green Bay case had an infatuation almost with Jeffrey Dahmer and with Jeffrey Dahmer crimes. And that is what makes this case different to me, is that she is admitting, if what is in the criminal complaint is accurate, she's admitting that there's a thrill in some way of what she did. She also mentioned a sinister post by Schabusiness on Facebook where she wrote on January 13th, went off and told an addict, "I'll never stop buying you dope so I could sit back, watch you die." The fact that she is or using social media to telegraph some of these sentiments makes her unusual, again, for someone that emulated the Jeffrey Dahmer case, because he didn't telegraph anything. What? She's nuts. And honestly, we need to stop glorifying these crimes, I think. Like Jeffrey Dahmer. The big Netflix thing came out, and then this. It's so disgusting. What is this? What the fuck is this playing? She told the detectives all this. Yeah. They're testicle tanning. Oh my God. It never ends. The weirdness never ends. Oh, I can't even imagine. She just had a baby. But we still haven't found out much about Lauren Schabusiness. Ugh. So her defense attorney was Quinn Jolly. That's who she attacked. Oh my God, a slow cooker. I just can't even. She told investigators, have fun trying to find all the organs. She has a history of mental illness. According to a court-appointed physician, she was competent, but Jolly argued that was not the case. She was reportedly previously diagnosed with bipolar. Oh, we're back in court. Let's go back. Let's go back to the madness. Holy heck.
Sir, if you want to come right up here, and then before you have a seat, just turn and face her and raise your right hand. She'll place you under oath.
All right, we're back.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now before the court, so help you God. Please have a seat and state
Pull
your
it down
name.
below your chin and aim it at your chin.
Kurt Brester, B-R-E-S-T-E-R.
Okay, then the witness is yours, Mr. Saunders.
Can you tell us how you're employed?
I'm a patrol sergeant with the City of Green Bay Police Department.
How long have you been employed in law enforcement?
Approximately 15 years.
Is the entirety of that time with the Green Bay Police Department?
It is not.
Okay. And how long have you been with Green Bay?
11 years.
You mentioned you're currently a sergeant, is that right?
Yes.
And I guess what are some of your duties as a sergeant as opposed to a patrol officer?
There's a wide range of responsibilities for sergeant, from administrative and scheduling work to managing larger scales calls.
In some respects, do you act as sort of like a supervisor for a shift?
Correct, yes.
But you still work patrol?
Yes.
So is it the case that you still respond to incidents?
Yes, sir.
And were you a patrol sergeant in February of 2022?
Yes.
I want to ask you about February 23rd of that year. At about 3:24 a.m., did you respond at some point to a call on Stony Brook Lane?
Yes.
And what was the reason you responded to that residence?
We had received a call that a resident inside that house had found what she believed was a severed head inside of a bucket.
Were you the first officer who arrived?
I was not.
And which officers were those?
Officer Wanish and Officer Plonky arrived on scene prior to my arrival.
And when you got there, I guess what happened?
When I arrived, I made contact with Officer Wanish outside, and he explained to me what he had seen in the basement of this residence. And that's when I had entered the residence at that time.
Okay. And what did you do when you entered?
Well, I made contact with two individuals in the kitchen, and I explained to them, due to the severity of what was happening, we were going to do a protective sweep of the residence.
And a protective sweep, that's essentially looking for people that may have been in the house?
Correct, for the safety of us and others inside the house that we're speaking with.
Apart from the two individuals you encountered in the kitchen, was anyone else found in the residence?
There was a juvenile female in a bedroom on the first floor that we had contact with during our protective sweep, yes.
Okay. And I guess was she essentially woken up by officers?
Yes, and we had her go back into the kitchen by the other two adults.
And you indicated you didn't locate any other persons in the residence?
Correct.
At that point, Officer Wanish had previously told you about what he observed in the basement, is that right?
Yes.
During the course of your protective sweep, are you going through the entirety of the residence?
Yes.
Including the basement?
Yes, sir.
And when you're in the basement, did you observe any other parts of a human body?
I did not see any more parts of a human body, no.
Okay. And did you locate any areas of suspected blood or other related material?
Yes, there were red spots on the concrete floor that was consistent with blood. And also, I was advised by another officer that there was a piece of...
Objection hearsay, Your Honor?
I'm not necessarily offering it for the truth, Judge.
Yeah, overruled. Go ahead and answer.
A piece that would appear to be a bone fragment or fatty tissue on a drain on a stand-up shower in the basement.
And so you mentioned the areas of suspected blood were drops, is that right?
Correct.
Were there areas of large-scale pooling at all?
I did not see any, no.
Okay, so with the drops that you observed, where were those located?
They were on the concrete floor, from what I recall, near the bucket.
Other areas of the basement, did you observe anything of that nature other than what you talked about earlier? And what did you do after the sweep of the residence?
I again made contact with the adults upstairs and advised, or asked if we could ultimately have consent to search the rest of the residence regarding to the crime. And we obtained verbal consent at that point.
So the initial responding officers, you're doing the protective sweep to look for people. Is there a larger scale, search of the house?
At that point, no.
Okay. Is that done by other members of your department?
Yes, later on in the incident, yes.
And did they ultimately arrive to the house as well?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant. I have nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Sergeant Brester, morning.
Morning.
You were on uniform patrol on February 23rd of 2022?
Yes, sir.
What was your shift?
I was a night shift sergeant at the time, so I started at 10 p.m. and worked until 6:30 a.m.
And you were on patrol in a different area in the Adam district, correct?
Yes, I was on a other call at the time.
Okay. And were you asked to come over to 829 Stony Brook Lane?
Yes, sir.
Who asked you to come over there?
Officer Wanish.
Okay. And was it regarding a suspicious situation over there on Stony Brook?
Yes.
Did you hear something from dispatch? Did they give you any details as to why you were supposed to go over there?
Yes, while I was on the initial call I was on, I did hear the Stony Brook call being dispatched out, and I did hear the nature of the call at that time, yes.
So then you left the Adams district, went over to Stony Brook, and where did you park?
From what I remember, I parked on the street not far from the actual address of the incident.
And you walked up on the sidewalk?
Sidewalk into the driveway, correct?
Okay. And did you see Officer Plonky and Officer Wanish there then outside?
Yes.
And did they kind of brief you on what was going on?
Yes.
Was that outside?
I believe it was outside, yes.
And did you try to figure out